for joining. We're so grateful to you for starting this new year with this powerful vibration that is very auspicious actually for ourselves, but also for the whole world. And we also want to congratulate you for taking this taking the stand and and delving into the new year with a renewed energy and renewed sense of connection with one's self. So first of all, we'd like to wish you a very happy new year, and we wish you for the very best in this year that brings great joy and deep connections, right? So so what are we so first of all, let's introduce ourselves, right? So my name is Vidarbha, and I've been a practitioner of bhakti for the last 25 years or so, and been walking down this path of bhakti yoga, which is yoga means to connect or to link up, and bhakti means to connect through love and through gratitude. And it's been a great joy for us to study as well as share whatever we have received. And it's just, we're really grateful to have all of you here with us.
We embarked on this journey together 25 years ago, and based on the teachings given in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Bhagavad Purana. And it has been a joyful ride, basically meeting people like yourself and then developing ourselves and growing together. So this is what we are going to do today, is to explore this path of bhakti through the medium of sound.
And I guess without further ado, maybe we can start. So just give us a minute. So what we're going to do is, just a little bit of, housekeeping before we jump into it is we're going to practice. So there are many different kinds of meditation techniques that are out there. The one that we'll be practicing is called mantra meditation or the yoga of sound. And so that'll be our focus. So we'll see how sound can affect us and how we can go deeper in the practice of mantra. And also connected to that, what we're going to do is we're going to take a relevant verse from the Bhagavad Gita, and we'll also explore that and connect that to our meditation practice.
So we'll get the best of both worlds. We get the best of mantra meditation, but then we are getting the best verses, the most important verses from Bhagavad Gita, one each a day, and connect that. So that can be also part of your meditation when you go away.
And to help you and assist you in this journey, we're going to assign or have community coordinators. So if you so desire, these community coordinators will be there to support you on this journey. And if you have any questions or you need some extra support or you just want to talk to someone, then, they will all be there. So in the next couple of days, you'll receive an email from them.
They'll introduce themselves, they'll share their contact information. And if you're comfortable, you can reach out to them anytime during the 21 days or beyond. You can ask your questions, concerns, or whatever support you need to make your journey during this meditation more meaningful. So we sent you in your email, sign up welcome email, you must have received information about signing up on our online community portal called circle.so. And so please use that, sign up. All you need is a username and password that you will create yourself, and you'll create a brief profile about yourself, and that allows each of you to know a little bit more about yourself and interact with each other in a personal way.
Yeah, it's like creating a community, yes. A virtual community. And the other good reason to join that is because we'll be periodically posting videos that are relevant, or putting in resources that we may not be able to cover in our 45 minutes, right? So you can have access to all that extra resources.
So you'll be sharing a lot of research and things like that during our presentation, but we cannot share it all. So we'll have the links to those articles, videos available to you as a resource whenever you want in that Circle or So community website. So take advantage of that.
And another thing is that, this is really, even though we are on a virtual platform, but it's really an interactive session. Where we want to get to know you. And so please feel free to, we want to create a very safe space for everyone. So feel free to, express your realizations, or if you have any questions, or if you have any doubts, just feel very, feel free and feel safe.
Yes. Yeah. And this is all about interaction, connection. So we want to encourage that.
So I guess we're going to first start by talking about a story that is actually very dear to our own heart. because it really resonated. First time I heard the story, it really resonated very deeply with me. And this is actually the story of a chicken and an eagle. So there was this eagle who laid her egg in a chicken coop. And the mother hen had no idea that there was any, or she couldn't distinguish between her own eggs and the egg of the eagle. And so she nurtured them, and in due course of time they hatched, and the little chickens came out, and then eaglet also came out. And naturally, when the eaglet came out, it kind of started hanging around with the chickens, and inevitably started thinking that it was actually a chicken. And so as the chickens would hop, the eaglet would also hop, pecking at the ground, looking for little grains to eat, and that was its life.
And although it was a little bit awkward for the eaglet, but he just went along because everybody else was doing the same thing, and that's what he heard every day. This is what we do.
Yeah, so this is what we do. And yet, every once in a while, the eagle would have like these moments where he would suddenly have this desire to sort of be free and to, soar in the blue sky. And sometimes, in certain close, quarters, he would tell one of the chickens that, hey, sometimes I just want to fly. I don't want to be cooped up in these little spots here. And the chickens would make fun of it and say, what's wrong with you? Just get on with your life and just try to be normal, because that's really that's all we are meant to do, is to just live our life this way. But that somehow the eaglet knew within that he was meant for something much, much more. And so finally, there was a farmer who recognized that actually he was not meant for a life like this. He was actually meant for much higher freedom. So he took that eaglet and put him on a pole and told him that now you can spread your wings and you can fly. And so the eaglet did that, and he soared up in the sky. So it's kind of what we are also struggling with. Like, we think we are just meant to live our life the way life is, taking us.
The life has conditioned us, and there are so many limitations, and we think that life means just living with these limitations or working around them. So the question is, why did the eaglet or eagle believe that he was a chicken? That's the question to ask.
Yeah, why did he believe that? And the reason is because of the sound that he was hearing. So he was continuously hearing the sound of other chickens, and everyone around him telling him that he was a chicken.
So he basically got covered by layers of sound. Layers of sound, although he didn't see it, but it basically changed him. And that's what we are going to talk about, how sound changes us.
Yeah, we don't realize it that way, but we're actually immersed in this ocean of sound. And most of the sound that we actually associate with, so actually, just to backtrack, we are what we hear. So that's one mantra that we can take away. That we are what we hear. So the kind of sound that we associate with, those are the kind of desires we're going to have. That's the kind of consciousness we're going to have.
That will form our motivations, our destinations, our actions. We are all driven by sound, both inner sound and external sound that we hear.
Yeah, exactly. And and there is actually, this is not just something that you hear in the ancient Vedic text, but actually there is a great science around it, and they are now realizing that that sound actually has the power to either heal us or it has the power to make us sick. And there was a recent study that showed that if you live on the roadside and you're continuously exposed to a lot of road noise, then it can actually make you very sick. And conversely, it's also true that they've done experiments with
there's a lot of experiments being done with plants. Scientists, they have played different kinds of music to plants, and like harsh music or very soothing classical music. And they have found that the plants that were exposed to this soothing classical music, they grew so much more, and their crop was so much more, that the body mass of the plants was much more. Whereas the plants that were exposed to toxic music or like heavy rock music, they pretty much withered and died in a span of a couple of weeks. So that's one experiment. There's another very interesting experiment. We'll share these articles in the circular so you can access them. There's the German sewage plant 100 miles south of Berlin, where this person, he decided that he was in charge of the sewage plant. He decided, let me experiment, how can I increase the efficiency of my sewage plant. So what he did was he played the music of Mozart in different directions in the sewage plant. So what happens in the sewage plant, there are these microbes which basically work on the garbage that comes, and the microbes, they basically disintegrate the garbage and the sewage. So what he found was that when he played the music of Mozart, like in a symphony, the efficiency of these microbes increased quite a bit, and he was saving thousands of euros every month because his sewage was getting decomposed much faster. So it's a very interesting experiment how sound even works on microbes. So what to speak of human beings?
That's amazing, right? And so it's amazing because, sometimes, when we hear about these ancient texts, it just amazes us that how much knowledge and wisdom is actually hidden in these great ancient texts. So the Vedanta Sutra, actually, which is a great ancient, basically summarizes the entire Vedas, which we'll talk about later, has an aphorism that says Anavriti Shabdat, which means liberation through sound.
So the word anavriti means to basically uncover. Anavriti. The vrittis are like layers of sound covering our consciousness, our soul. And anavriti is to uncover it, to take it off.
Yeah, because those vrittis, or those sounds that are covering us, are causing us such a great deal of stress.
Yeah.
Because, like for example, like if you are in some space and you don't like the sound, you can switch off the sound. Hopefully you can put some earplugs, or you can do whatever and just move away into a quieter space. But what we don't realize is that as much sound there is outside, there is also even more sound inside of us. And try switching that off.
And then that sound is kind of, in many ways, it becomes fossilized. So a sound like something that is buried deep under the soil for millions of years, it gets fossilized. So we have layers of this fossilized sound that we're carrying from millions of lifetimes, and it's there, but we don't see it. So Anavati Sabdat means removing this fossilized sound from our consciousness through another sound. How can you remove this?
How do you remove this sound, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the work of, like you have like cures like.
Yeah.
Right. So one thing, the very thing that is causing our bondage, it's causing our anxieties, our fears, our stresses, that very thing in a different, of a different nature can completely, free us.
Just like in homeopathic medicine.
Yeah.
They use the same cause that caused the disease in refined way to cure the disease.
Yeah, Prabhupada also talks about like dairy product, right?
Yeah.
How milk can cause indigestion, and then yogurt, made out of the same thing, can actually free us, or actually cure our indigestion. So the idea being that a certain kind of sound can actually free us, and that's what we are going to do. Yoga means to connect. Bhakti yoga means to connect through love and devotion. And another name for Bhakti yoga is actually the yoga of sound. So we are really, really refining our hearing. We are actually coming in contact with this very powerful sound that has the power to completely eradicate all kinds of things that are holding us back from realizing our fullest potential.
And that's what mantra literally means. Mantra means that frees the mind. Man means mind, and tra means to free. So free the mind from these layers of sound, which basically cause all the fears, anxiety, stress that we're experiencing.
So what we'll do is maybe we'll pause here for a minute, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a very short guided visualization meditation, and then we're going to lead that into the chanting of the mantra today, right? So that's our plan. But before we do that, should we just maybe ask if you guys have any thoughts or questions before? Yeah, we'll just take a couple of
reflections if you want to make any,
or any questions.
So good to see you, Aditi, after a while.
I know, we missed you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Prabhuji, it's great to see you as well.
Hare Krishna. Any thoughts from you?
Oh, so many thoughts, hard to distill into one piece. I actually do have a thought. I hope it will make sense. I have been practicing Vipassana for a long time, silent meditation, and they talk about the importance of silence. And so it's interesting to hear you speak about sound as at once this cause of challenge, and also this like source of liberation. And I'm wondering, like, what is your thought on silence?
Such a good, I'm so glad. Actually, I was just about to say that, and then I'm glad that you brought that up. Silence is good. silence is actually, it's a way for us to let go of, the external chatter, and to a large extent also quieten the mental chatter. But really, in order to understand what we are really dealing with, we have to know the extent of this mental chatter or sound that we have at all different levels of our existence. So it's kind of like you have a little a beaker or like a bucket, and it's filled with a lot of like debris in it. So kind of like silence means that maybe we can settle it down to some extent, right? But the fact is that as soon as there is some distraction, or as soon as your life changes, then the whole thing again gets agitated, because it hasn't been completely purified. That water hasn't been purified. It's just we've allowed it to settle it down. So the process of mantra meditation is really like the process of completely eradicating that sediments and all the debris in it. So even if there is agitation, there's no question of that thing resurfacing again.
Yeah, it's because the nature of this ourself is full of activity, full of desires. So what we mean by silence is that we remove the noise that is coming from this contamination in our consciousness. But that is the meaning of like part of the silence that we get from that. But the real silence is to bring out the true nature of the self. And true nature of the self is not to be silent. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tisthati karma krit, that a self or soul is never inactive. So whenever there is activity, there will be desires, and there will be, but these are the true desires of the self, and that is actually true silence. When we act on the true desires of the self, that is another meaning for silence.
Yeah, and the sound will actually cancel away all the other sounds. Maybe what we'll do, Aditi, is we'll share with you this one little graphic that we have, which shows sound at the level of all the different chakras.
So in one of the coming sessions, we
can do that, and then you can maybe have a better sense of it.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So maybe we'll get on. Yeah, we'll get on with it, and we'll, please save your reflections and your questions, because we will be taking them at the end. So now we will get into a guided meditation. So we want you to now, just really, really prepare yourself. Please find a comfortable position and just try to settle into it. If you have to, switch off your cell phone. You can close your door so that there's no disturbance for the next 12 minutes. And then we can just start by taking some long and slow, deep breaths.
Inhaling.
And then exhaling fully. Allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. Bring your full attention to noticing each in-breath as it enters your nostrils, travels down to your lungs, and causes your belly to expand. And notice each out-breath as your belly contracts and air moves up through the lungs, back up through the nostrils or mouth. If your mind wanders to thoughts, plans, or problems, simply notice your mind wandering. You are the observer and can choose to not identify with the mind and its wanderings. Watch the thought as it enters your awareness as neutrally as possible. Then practice letting go of the thought as if it were a leaf floating down a stream. In your mind, place each thought that arises on a leaf and watch as it flows out of sight down the stream. You are not this thought. If you choose, you can simply observe that you're different from your thoughts, your mind, and this body. You are indeed a spark of pure, blissful consciousness.
As stated in the Upanishads, we are complete. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate.
Breathe in and breathe out. We can choose to go beyond the body, the mind, the intelligence, the ego, and find a resting place in this consciousness, which is timeless and ever blissful. So now that we are connected to our breath and our consciousness, let's meditate together on the sacred mantra, which is going to take us roughly 10 to 12 minutes. So the idea is that we want to pronounce the mantra clearly and allow the sound to enter into our consciousness. And we can imagine how it's removing these layers of dust which is accumulated that is causing anxiety, fear, and stress. And whenever the mind wanders, the practice is simply to bring the mind back to the sound. This is called the yoga of sound. So with that, so we're going to chant for 108 times. And the idea is that, the more we can just focus and try to hear the sound and let the sound just carry us. So let's do this together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So the way you pronounce this mantra, it has three main words. H-A-R-E, pronounced as Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So Hare means the divine energy of the Supreme. Krishna means the all-attractive one who attracts everyone, the divine who attracts everyone. And Rama means the source of all happiness. So that's what we are looking for, happiness. So this mantra literally means, O divine energy of the Supreme, O all-attractive one, O source of all happiness, let me connect with you in divine love. So this mantra is also a prayer for connection with the divine, connection with each other in this spiritual love.
So let's try. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So we'll just take a couple of minutes to let the sound enter into our consciousness and remove any traces of anger or sadness or fear or stress or anxiety, and let the sound connect us to our real essence, which is that we are a spark of pure consciousness, connected to Supreme Consciousness in love. So we'll now pause here and take any reflections or comments or questions that you may have. Since today was the first day, we really didn't get a chance to get into our Bhagavad Gita verse. Starting tomorrow, we can do that. So we'll take any reflections.
Reflection is something that you heard, you want to repeat, or some experience that you want to share.
Reduce the volume.
I'd like to something.
Yes, go ahead, Manjari.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjari.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the first few minutes. Hare Krishna. Happy New Year to everyone in the group.
Thank you.
Sweetie one, I just want to share that being in the presence of the two of you in a meditation session means a world to me. And we all have tried different meditations before, and various things are available online. But I can't tell you how blessed I feel to be here in presence of the two of you, because I really feel it's like a router to connect me, a faster Wi-Fi connection to my consciousness. And yeah, it's just wonderful to be here in this session with you, and I look forward to the next few days
Thank you,
to some
Manjari. We're
powerful
so happy.
meditation.
Yeah, thank you. So happy to have you back, and it's what's making our Happy New Year happy.
And I think that we had this conversation with you, I think a couple of weeks back, that basically inspired us to
launch this. Yeah. So thank you.
For that.
Thank you.
Srishti, would you like to share anything that comes to your mind?
No, really excited.
Did you just call out my name?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you like to share anything.
Nothing as such, but I feel it feels really liberating having a meditation session, because I have been doing meditation. I have done meditation before, but I think this was a little different in the way. Before, I have the kind of meditation sessions that I have done before was with silence. Like, this is the first meditation session wherein I have done it with sound or chanted something. So and looking forward to more such sessions.
Thank you, Srishti.
This is a meditation you can carry it with you any time of the day. All you do is access the meditation by just softly saying the mantra to yourself. And then
it gives the mind something to latch on to. I think we'll talk more about this, like, silent versus sound meditation. I mean, they're both really good. They're both wonderful, powerful ways for us to, find that inner space. But I think the advantage that we have with mantra meditation is that the mind needs something to latch on to, and the mantra actually sound carries our consciousness.
So we need support. And in silence, we are just depending on our own mind to be silent. But in mantra meditation, the mantra is doing all the work for us.
So thank you. Betsy, if you have anything you want to...
So wonderful to have you.
So wonderful to have you. Emilia, if you want to have any reflections, or anyone for that matter, please. Nisha, Ruchira.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
My friend just made me join this group, so I'm just happy to be here. So this is my first session, and Happy New Year. So hopefully going forward, I'll be more involved and be able to absorb. But thank you very much for taking me through this.
And who's your friend that joined you?
Amrita Chima.
Oh, Amrita Chima, of course. Okay, that's wonderful. And you live in India or the US?
Yeah, I live in Mumbai, India. That's right.
Oh, you're in Mumbai. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ritika, any thoughts from you? Pooja, Ruchira? We just want to, hear from you, so that way we can,
Your feedback will help us fine tune. And also when you reflect something, it goes deeper in your own consciousness. So.
I think being the first meditation session for most of us, everybody is still gathering thoughts and
that is true. That is true. That is true. So I guess if there are no further questions, there are comments, then we can pause here. And again, a very, very happy new year, and we're very happy that all of you took the time to come and meditate together.
Yeah, and is it all right with you? Our community coordinators might reach out to you in a couple of days, and if you feel comfortable with that. If you don't feel comfortable with that, let us know, so we can remove you from that list. Yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow, 7 p.m. India time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, 5:30 a.m. Pacific time, whichever time zone you are. We welcome you. And if you have any friends or anybody else you think might benefit, please pass on the information to them so they can join. And again, a very happy new year to you. And may this year bring you a lot of forward journey in your consciousness.
Thank you, Turtle. We are very grateful for your presence and for your enthusiasm. It means a lot to us. So thank you. Thank you all.